All right, we're switching gears now, and we're going to talk about the end of an era in Clinton County. Mike Wolf first took office as the Clinton County Attorney in January 1999. He's been reelected for 6 additional 4-year terms, and he's been in office for nearly 3 decades. But at the end of this year, Mike is stepping down. We are honored to have him joining us right now here on The Current to break down his career. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us. I want to start with what led to this decision. Why is now the time to step down?
People were asking me, because of our long election cycle here in Iowa, where were my nomination papers? And as a consequence, I want to be straightforward and honest as I can with the folks. And it was time to move on. And I felt that in order to be honest with everyone, I needed to make sure that people knew at the end of this term, this would be my last term. I felt that the 30 years of service were one in which I wanted to leave in a strong note, and kind of even want people to even say, hey, we're missing you, instead of trying to give you the boot and saying you've stayed too long.
And what has kept you in the job for so long? I mean, what's it meant to you to serve Clinton County?
It really has been quite a wonderful county to serve. You know, my wife and I moved here from the Detroit metropolitan area. My wife is a physician. She served in the area. She works at Mercy One, and both of us felt that we were called to be here. We both felt that Iowa was a place that we could call home. It was a place that we wanted to raise our children, and in fact, that was one of the main reasons: is children in Iowa schools. We felt that this community was the place to be. University of Iowa called my wife, and then I moved with her, actually. And then there's a need, when you got some skills, there was a need for me to work in the courthouse, and I've been here ever since.
And you've been there through a lot of big life updates. I mean, for the county, I should say, you've been there for a major courthouse renovation. You were there through the 9/11 attacks and then the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm so curious, what are some of your most memorable cases or moments that stick in your head from over the years?
Sure. You know, even COVID-19, when you think about it, we had this jail. Fortunately, we had just gone through a major change from an antiquated jail to a modern public correctional facility. And, you know, it took 10 years of a lot of work to be able to just do that and to get the authority to do that. And those changes along the way, you know, I've been part of that change, you know, right from the very, very beginning with the courthouse renovations, and then, you know, the changes to this new jail and the new jail facility. But even in COVID-19, we could only hold up to about 16 people. And the reason was because we had to have that space separation. And one of the major concerns we have, where are we going to put people, and what would happen if we had a major COVID outbreak in our jail? How would we be able to take care of those people? How would we be able to keep our criminal justice system going? Can you imagine doing jury trials in an open amphitheater where we had to have them spaced eight feet apart? And we had to do things like that we'd never even heard of before. And one of the changes that came from that is Zoom, or virtual testimony. And so people are saying, hey, we can do things by Zoom. Now that's become commonplace. It was once that we would never even think of having anything done without doing it in person. And now we're doing it many times. We're doing many of our cases, most of our juvenile delinquency cases, most of our mental health committals, all of those things where before we had to do dangerous transports and have people there in person. Now we're doing via Zoom. So there's been a lot of those types of changes that I've been able to be part of during my term here.
Is there a case that when you think back over the last, 30 years that you still think about?
You know, one case that comes to mind was we had a pawn shop robbery, and it was single ownership by a 80-plus-year-old woman, and she was in that pawn shop alone, and somebody came up to her with a knife and put the knife to her neck. Thank God she lived. Thank God she was able to survive that. She was injured as she was pushed to the floor. And they were able to quickly resolve that case. And what was remarkable about that case is that she and I were able to go. I met with her in her home to help her to prepare for her testimony in the case because she was fearful. And what we learned through the process, though, is that she became more and more empowered, that she knew she would be able to be a witness, that she could be part of this, and we could go to trial. And she was there with me. She went through it. And at the end, she felt like she had regained control of her life, that she didn't have to be in fear. And I see that over and over again with some of these people that have been victims of crime. And if we can work with them and go through their struggles, listen to them and let them know that they have a voice and that they are going to make a difference. And that is an example of that type of case that truly stands out to me. I have so many more people that have taught me through the years. I've learned more from watching these people and letting me be part of their lives and how they've shared. I've had people that I think carry resilience and have a healthier attitude if they are willing to move on, to deal with this, to address it, to say it happened to me. I want to make sure that I have a voice through you. I'm going to work with you, and that I know that I'm going to make it through to the end of this. And those people I see later on, I go visit them. Maybe I go to their house and say, "How are you doing?" And there are certain lingering things that carry through. There's no way we can forget very serious offenses that have happened to us in our lives. But I find that the people that are willing to move on carry a greater resiliency. And I hope I can carry that to my life as well, too, as a look, people are going to wrong us. It's part of living in society. And some of them are criminal in nature. Some of them are just offenses from our colleagues. But whatever it is in life that's that we deal with, if we can have that resiliency to deal with it, to face it, to address it, and to move on, we're going to be a far better human being by doing so.
Well, clearly, I can tell you're still so passionate about this job, and obviously you have a full year or 11 months left in front of you before you officially retire. But once 2027's here, I mean, what's next for you?
Well, my wife says that I got to spend some time. She's going to retire with me, I'd like to decompress a little bit. This job, when I signed up for it, the first 2 years I didn't even get a vacation. I did 6 murder trials, and many times I don't get a vacation like I probably should take. It is a full-time job, full on. You have to give your all to this job. Part-time would never work for this job. The county is too big, and the county demands somebody to be there 24/7. You get calls all the time, and we have to be here full-time. You have to be invested. You have to be the person that people care about. And, one of the things that I prayed about when I first found out that I was elected back in 1998 was, as a dear Lord, I just don't want to disgrace this office. And yeah.
Well, I would argue that after 30 years, you've certainly accomplished your goals. Mike, thank you so much for your time today and for all the help that you've given us and the Clinton County community over the last 3 decades. I really appreciate this, and congratulations.
Been a pleasure. Been a pleasure. Thank you.
If you guys at home want to share Mike's story, you can find our online version up at WQAD.com underneath the As Seen on TV tab.